Hi, my name is Tyler Hollander, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a dashboard in Tableau. To start off, this is what we're going to be making today. Um, we're going to start with some few different worksheets, making the individual graphs you see here, and then compile them all into a dashboard to ultimately show off all of them together. So let me go ahead and we're going to open up a new Tableau book here. There we are. And to start off, we need to connect it to some data. So we're going to open up our Microsoft Excel sheet, find shipping.xls is the file we're using for this. Once that's connected, we'll go ahead and go to our first sheet here. So we're going to be going through files for Rogers Company, which is like a demonstration company I'm going to be using today. We're going through their 2021 financial statements and compiling some information to take a look at their different invoices and some of their financials. So to start off, for risk assessment procedure, we're going to plot a monthly revenue trend to get an overall feel for the sales trends for 2021. And we just want 2021. So we're going to drag and drop the invoice total to the rows line, just like that. And then we're going to drag invoice date to the columns line. There we go. So this just shows us by year 2020, 21, 22, but that's not what we want. We want this divided up into months and to only show the months from the year 2021. So first we need to get this into months. So we're going to press this little plus button and press it again on quarter. And now we have months. So we can go ahead and delete and get rid of the year and the quarter. So now we have all the months. Um, but the problem is it's compiling things based on all the months from all the years put together. So we need to make sure that we're just including 2021 data. So we're going to drag invoice date to the filter panel. So go back over here to invoice date and put this in this filter panel. Now we need to click on years and just check 2021. Click OK, and now we have the data for the year of 2021. So now that that's good, we have our graph done. We can go ahead and rename our sheet, make sure that we like the name of it. So we're gonna put 2021, whoops, 2021 revenue trend, and that'll go ahead and change our title up here too. So now our first question is what 3 months had the highest sales in 2021? So we have all of our months here from 2021, and we can easily see on the graph that these three are the highest. So it's going to be September, October, and November have the three highest uh, revenues for the year of 2021. All right, so we're going to go to our next spot here. It says we need to first make some adjustments, certain variables in Tableau, better understand the difference between dimensions and measures. So the dimensions over here are normal attributes about like certain transactions that can't be quantified. So like these due dates, invoice dates, order dates, these things aren't like measures as far as numbers go, but they're parameters, right? And then for the measures, we have all of these down here, which are actual quantities that populate our graphs. Um, but there are a couple here that were done incorrectly by Tableau because it doesn't always get everything right. So we need to make sure we get everything correct and put into the right either dimension or measure side of things. So it tells us that the first two that we have incorrect are customer number and invoice number. So we need to switch these from measures to dimensions. So we're going to right click on customer number and then convert to dimension. And then we're going to do the same thing with invoice number. Now there's also one more here that is incorrect. And comparing the two of them, it's obvious that it's order number. So the order number also needs to be converted to dimension. And now we should have everything correct. We have all of our dimensions labeled properly in the blue and all of our measures in the green. So that's all good there. So for our next step, we're going to do another risk assessment procedure, and we're going to see what customers have the largest total sales volumes. So we're going to make a new worksheet. Just go ahead and click this little button right here. And then we're going to drag and drop customer number to the columns line. So that customer number we just changed into a dimension. We're going to put that in the columns. And now we're going to put invoice total in the rows. So down here in our measures, invoice total, up to the rows section there. Um, as you can see, it automatically puts it in a bar graph. We don't want that because it's not the greatest comparison for what we're trying to do here. We want to see the total sales volume. A lot of them are very similar and very small compared to this one large one. So to better visualize it, we're going to go ahead and switch to a packed bubbles presentation. So we're going to click show me in the top right here, which is going to bring up our different options for how we want to show our information. And the bottom right here is packed bubbles. So we're going to click on that and it brings up our packed bubbles. Um, this is a great way to visualize the comparison between a lot of little small numbers and some big ones. So we can obviously see the biggest customer number is this one right here. So now we just need to save the worksheet name, and we're going to change it to total sales by customer. There we go. That worksheet's good now. So which customer number has the largest total sales volume? This is, pretty easy to see, but if you had a packed bubble screen like this that was maybe a little more difficult to see, we can make it even clearer by dragging and dropping the invoice total into the color section of the marked frame. So we're going to go to invoice total and then drop it in the little colored box there. And now it's making it much more obvious which ones are the biggest numbers on our little graph here. And that's just a handy tip to make it more obvious and a little bit clearer. But we're going to go ahead and undo that just for now because we don't want that in our dashboard. All right, so we're moving on here. Now we're going to take our same information here, but we don't want to see the total sales volume. We're going to look at average sales volume per customer. So we're going to take this tab we have right here, and we're going to duplicate it. So right click on it and click duplicate. Now we have the same thing again, but we're going to change it a little bit to look at our averages. So we're going to click on the drop down arrow next to sum invoice total in the marks frame. Right here. And we want to click measure sum and then come over here and change that to average. And that's changed it from customer total sales to customer average sales. So same customer numbers, but we're looking at averages instead of totals. But so obviously the bubble chart is a lot muddier here and a lot less obvious which ones are the biggest. So the packed bubbles probably isn't the best way to visualize this. So we're going to go ahead and switch it. So we're going to go back to the show me menu and switch to the circles view. Now this is showing us a much better idea of the averages, and we can see the obvious top two here compared to the rest. Okay, so now we just need to change the name of this tab to something a little more easy to understand. So instead of being total two, we're going to change it to that average sales by customers. There we go. So now we have our revenue trend, sales by customers, and average sales by customers. So which customer number has the highest average invoice amount? We just go to the top here, and it's customer 100-208. All right, then we're going to go ahead and go into part two, working on a few more steps here before we get into our dashboard. So we're going to use Tableau's forecast function to forecast sales for Q4 in 2021. And then we're going to compare the forecasted sales to the actual values for a final review and then put all that in a dashboard. So starting with our forecast, we're going to open a new worksheet and call it Q4 forecast. Q4 forecast. There we go. Now, to perform a forecast, first we're going to right click on invoice date and convert that to a continuous. Convert to continuous. So now invoice date is continuous value. And then we're going to add invoice total to the rows line. So go to invoice total, put that in the rows. And now we're going to put invoice date in the columns. So the invoice date, we just changed to continuous. We'll put that in the columns. And now here we go. We have years though, like we had earlier that we had to switch into months. So we're going to do that same thing again. So go ahead and click that plus button, quarter, and now month. So now we have all the months laid out for our graph. But once again, we have all the way from February 2020 till February 2022. We don't want that much information. So we're going to filter based on the range of dates that we actually want to include. So we're going to add the invoice date from dimensions to the filter pane. And now we're going to click range of dates. So we want to specifically set apart which ones we want. So we're going to go ahead and change this to September 30th of 2021 because we want to forecast the last 3 months of 2021. So we're going to go ahead and put in September 30th on the second date there. Click OK. And now our graph ends at September 2021. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the forecast and projecting those final 3 months of the year. So to add the forecast, click on the Analytics tab next to the Data tab in the top left corner of Tableau. So the top left corner here, we have Analytics. We'll click on that. And then we will click on Forecast. And we're going to drag that into the line chart. So just drag that over here. And now it's added a forecast to the end of our graph. But that forecast needs some parameters and some information to make sure that it's projecting exactly what we want based on the information that we're giving it. So we're going to edit by left-clicking on the flat forecast line, clicking Edit, and brings up this edit window. So we want to put in parameters. It's automatically filling in the information that it thinks we might want, but we're going to go ahead and change that. So we only want to forecast to 2021 Q4. So we're going to change the forecast exactly 3 months and ignoring 0 months. So we're going to click exactly, change that to 3, and then we want months. And then down here, we want to ignore 0 months. And last, we're going to change the forecast model from automatic to custom and add in additive trend. So change this to custom and then an additive trend. Everything should be good there. Click OK. And here's our forecast. So we have our forecast for our final 3 months of 2021, Q4, 128,000 in October, 143 in November, and 158 in December. Everything seems good here. So we'll go ahead and move on. So to obtain actual values and compare them, we're going to create a new worksheet and name it Q4 Actual. So let's go ahead and make our new worksheet. Q4 Actual. Enter. And we're going to do essentially the same thing, but we're going to not include a forecast, and we're going to include the actual data. So we're going to go ahead and drag invoice date back into the columns, invoice total back into the rows, change this to months again, filter based on invoice date, range dates, but we want this to end at the end of December instead of September. So December 31st, okay. And here we go. Looks exactly like this, except instead of a forecast, it has the actual numbers here. As we can see, the forecast was a bit off, but that's okay. It's just a forecast. So now we have all of our worksheets laid out, and we're going to go ahead and create our final dashboard. So we're going to click the new dashboard icon down here, and we have an empty sheet here. We have our different sheets that we've created over here on the left, all 5 of them. So we're going to start by dragging these out and placing them wherever we want to include all the different sheets on the page. So we'll go ahead and put these down here, put our forecast here, and our actual maybe down here somewhere. There we go. And you can resize this however you want to make sure you fit all the data on here in whichever way works best for you and your screen resolution. There we go. Yeah. So we can kind of scroll down a little bit here and see, we can compare our forecast to our actual. We have all the different information on here that we created. So now let's answer some questions we have. So now that we've created our dashboard, we can look at it and make some comparisons. So what months significantly underperformed expectations? So obviously December dripped a lot below where it should have been. It was projected for 158,000, and we actually only got 77,000. So there was a lot of underperformance there. But there were 2 months that outperformed the expectations. October was projected for 128, November was 143, and those ended up being 223 and 258 respectively. So they way outperformed their forecast. So We had 2 months that were a lot higher than expected and 1 month that was a lot lower than expected. Obviously, there's some weaknesses in this forecast based on the fact that it's just based purely on past information that we've included in our Excel file. It doesn't include any different, factors from the market, any changes we're making to the company. It just uses purely historical information. And what audit evidence would an auditor need to obtain during the audit to become comfortable with revenue during Q4? I think an auditor would need to get a demonstration, an explanation from management on how they do their forecasting and, understanding what exactly went wrong with their forecast, especially for December, and how those numbers ended up being so different. And once they have an explanation of that, then they might be more comfortable with that revenue number and be able to continue with the audit. But that's it. That's our demonstration for creating this dashboard. I hope you liked it, and thank you.